What is something Americans have which Europeans don't have? Outlets with 110 volts. 120, 121 whatever. Me this works on regular 110V power. Others you mean 120. Me it's essentially the same. Others what about 125? Me dude. Relax, it'll take anything from 100, 130V just fine. 120 power is the distribution voltage. 115 is the rated voltage of the device. It's slower due to losses. Electricity was invented by electrical engineers to perform magic. Florida man. Europe has Polish man and Russian man. I went to a Russian grocery store in Miami, which means there must be a population of Russian people. Beware the Russian Florida man. A hybrid creature capable of levels of duckery heretofore unimaginable. Our currency has both for the $1. Makes it easier to tip strippers. I have no idea how Europeans tip strippers with euro coins. Make it hail. Refrigerators the size of my flat. Every European who has seen my moderately sized refrigerator. This explains why, when my Czech friends came to visit, they stood around my fridge taking pictures of each other with it like it was a monument. Can confirm. As a Czech who spent some time in Chicago, the fridge and stove size was something I would expect a family of 10 with nearest shop far away would have here. Not in small apartment for 2 people. I'm not from the States either. Just got back from visiting my grandfather there. He has 4 fridges. To this day I don't understand why. I'm American. And even I'm wondering why he's got 4 fridges. Edit how the duck half of y'all just got 4 of these MFS. Garbage disposal units are installed beneath the kitchen sink. That's so weird to me cause I always got told as a kid to not put food down the sink. Meanwhile Americans are like, if I don't eat it, the drain can have it. My aunt got one of those sinks with a garbage disposal unit a few years ago. We are from a small country in Europe. A few months after she got it, it got all clogged up and smelly and disgusting and she couldn't find a plumber who had ever had any sort of experience fixing those sinks and they all refused to touch them with a 10-foot pole. So she got completely fed up with it and bought a much cheaper, simpler one. That's how uncommon they are here. As someone who has clogged up their garbage disposal you can just use a sink plunger on it. But if they aren't common I can see why that wouldn't be thought of. Additionally, they aren't common all across the USA. My family is from the eastern side of the US and I didn't see one until I moved to the middle US. Behold, Stephen Fry is completely overwhelmed by a standard American college football game. Link. The 2 photigs celebrating the Jets overhead at the end is my favorite part of that clip. Stephen Fry is correct. That video is a perfect encapsulation of the American spirit. The largest living organism on the planet. Link. I give a Slack report to my entire company 800 plus employees every morning about the state of the company. I'm a business intelligence engineer. At the end of most days I insert a fun fact. This is going to be the greatest fun fact ever. Thanks for sharing. I always find myself finding everything cheaper in America online stores than in European stores. Especially with hardware, woodworking, light machinery. Edit as many pointed out. They don't include sales tax in the price. But then again as others pointed out, it's only 6% whilst mine is 25% on all goods at home. So USA prices are still comparatively low even when included American 6% tax. It would only be worth to order though if I actually lived in USA though because of import duties. That's interesting. As an American cyclist I find the best prices for bike parts come from the UK. At home or somewhere else. They have screens on their windows. Do other countries not have screens on their windows? I've been to Hungary and Germany, but it was winter so can't say I noticed the windows. Depends on the climate and location. When my husband lived in France he said they never got bugs or mosquitoes and always had the windows open. I'm assuming the cooler climate or maybe bugs just aren't that common there, because we still have screens in northern states. Down here in Texas you're asking for an infestation, and living heck if you leave windows open without screens because of the hot humid climate bugs love. That's pretty fascinating and not something I've thought about. I think the bugs would serve me an eviction notice without screens here haha. I worked for a US firm. I'm from the UK. There are many differences, but the one that used to cause so many problems was the term fortnight, not commonly used in that part of the US. So they use bi-weekly for the same thing, except in the UK that means twice a week. In the US, bi-weekly can mean twice a week or every other week. Same with biannual. It's stupid. Edit. Apparently I may be wrong, but regardless people use it both ways, so I think my point still stands. As a Middle or East European who was in the US 16 years ago, amazing sweets selection. Please send Twizzlers to Slovakia. Edit. I like that some people want to come and get drunk at a castle. Please do, but do not send me anything. The monetary cost would be too big. My begging was more or less a joke, though I do miss Twizzlers. You guys are nice. Edit. I'm overwhelmed by the comments and offers. Yes, I do like waxy candy, believe it or not, but in good conscience, I cannot accept the generous offers to be sent candy, because I know I cannot afford to return the favor, at least not in the next few months. Sending you all love from North Slovakia at least, and thank you. 3. There's a subreddit that exchanges snacks between countries. Can't remember the name, but I'm sure you can find it. We have a high drinking age at 21. We Belgians drink our first legal beer at 16. Start going to parties. Graduate high school. Start college. Explore the student life. Graduate college. Celebrate graduation with a trip to the US and explore the nightlife there, only to be barred from bars because we are too young to drink. Europe is definitely more laid back. I've been to manufacturing plants in Germany where beer is sold out of vending machines. Good Mexican food. I always like to say that the worst meal I ever had in my entire life was a Mexican place in Slovakia. Slovak Mexican food sounds like a word taken from Urban Dictionary. College sports. This one I'll give you. Universities play each other in sports, but nowhere to the scale in America. For football, soccer, most players can be in clubs, academies from the age of 5, 6, finish school at 16, and then just go straight into reserve first team squads. Whereas in America they play sports in school, university, then get picked up by clubs. Bigger homes and wider streets. Root beer is a popular beverage in the United States. Visitors from Europe frequently comment on how strange it tastes. The road splits in two. It's a beloved American ritual that foreigners are unfamiliar with. Imga. It's so bubbly, cloying and happy. And you know what's really frightening? If you drink enough of it, you begin to like it. Bigger portion sizes. As an example, I think a small or regular PB jar is probably considered large in European countries. We don't have air conditioning in Northern Europe, which is a requirement in America, according to what I've heard. Do keep in mind that Vancouver is at a lower latitude than Amsterdam and Florida is near the same latitude as the Sahara. Of course the Gulf Stream impacts stuff a lot, but in general, we are quite high up. Automatic ice dispensers in your fridges. It's such an American thing, you only find it on fridges that are labeled American style. I'm gonna start calling fridges without ice dispensers European style. Also, I love that someone called garbage disposals an angry sink, and I will continue to use this term. Ack. Been back and forth a lot. Ack tends to do that. Try DC next time. Hummingbirds. Me. Space. I love spending time in Europe, but man, it is amazing to come home and have hundreds of thousands of square miles of just open country to explore, hike, ride, camp, etc. A lot of it isn't even in national or state parks, which are also amazing. Yeah, I remember driving a Greyhound in central USA and just be astounded at the nothingness of endless space. It was actually a nice experience. My wife emigrated from Europe, and when I explained that the closest major town in any direction was a 4-hour drive, she was blown away. She regularly comments that going for a 3-4 hour drive is just a day trip here, but in Europe is apparently a pretty big trip. Edit. Thank you for all the responses. They have been very interesting. What's the saying? In America 200 years is a long time, but in Europe 200 miles is a long drive. Legal right turn on red. I don't always agree with Jeremy Clarkson, but in this instance he's correct that it's one of the US's greatest contributions to society. Germany, or at least East Germany, has this. If I remember correctly, it wasn't a thing in West Germany, and after reunification they started phasing them out in East Germany, but people got really pissed off, so they gave up and kept them. 12, 14, 21. A million choices in the cereal aisle loops. Thanks. Also, duck Kellogg's. Most Americans have circumcised cocks. Live in the UK with a US wife. When my sons were around too, for we were visiting my wife's grandparents in Arizona. With the heat it was virtually impossible to keep the boys in clothes. They would just strip as soon as you put clothes on them, understandable, since as is like living on the sun. Wife's grandfather asked why they weren't circumcised, and my reply of "We are not Jewish. Why would they be?" led to me finding out it's the norm in the US. There's the story about how one German commander wanted to separate out the Jewish prisoners of war captured during the Battle of the Bulge. The American Catholic chaplain said they refused to tell them who was. The commandant said no problem. We'll just order everyone to drop their pants. The Catholic priest says, then you'll find that everyone is circumcised, including me. Oh, so that's how the battle got its name. High fructose corn syrup. Cheaper gas. Cheap V8 cars and trucks. Land is cheaper. Edit, I'm an American, yeah, clown shoes. I don't think most of us Americans understand how cheap gas truly is. Petrol in France is currently 8 per US gallon, 1.86 L. As a Canadian, these comments just sound like Canada. We really are like an American light. Pancakes with maple syrup. Date German. And she is super confused why there is so much sugar in the American breakfast. Go to the UK and there is none. Go to Amsterdam, where pancakes are practically the national specialty, and they are mostly savory. Just found this out on another post, our own grades. Apparently grades are often dug up and reused in Europe and Australia. They're owned by the government and will not always be yours. The only reason why we don't do the same is because we are a younger country and we haven't run out of room to bury people yet. The Grand Canyon. Edit, my very first starry thing. Thank you so much. It is so huge that looks fake. Not even kidding. It's truly so big that if someone doesn't put it into perspective for you, your brain just interprets everything as regular size. I needed someone to point to the opposite rim and explain that it was 2 miles away, and point to what I thought were shrubs and explain that they were actually 20-30 foot pines. And that little glint of light, that's the Colorado River. When I got to the bottom, a 10-mile hike, I had trouble contextualizing everything with that I had seen from above. Ranch. Like, why is it so good? Why don't we have it? And can we please exchange Boris Johnson for a bottle? He's be good in your circus. The Heart Attack Grill. A more ecologically diverse country. We have virtually every climate and ecosystem on the gradient. Middle class folks with 2,500 SQFT new construction homes on 4+ acres. Also, a fleet of ATVs, quads, and side-by-sides. This is a good one. Americans play pretty hard, mostly because of the unmatched access to public land. We have lots of toys and lots of big garages, shops, barns full of recreation vehicles. Canadian, but thought I'd share the right to insult both sides while not being insulted back. Inches, gallons, dollars, acres and the Fahrenheit scale. Free drink refills at restaurants. I should clarify, I'm referring to water and soft drinks, not coffee and alcohol. Mexican border. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. They can be emulated in Europe by putting peanut butter and jam on a sandwich. A flag on the moon.